So you asked me a question, the
I
purpose of
did.
the podcast. The purpose of the podcast, it's be she, it's be seen, be heard, be empowered. And the podcast is more geared toward business, like helping women step into their, like empower them to create financial abundance and freedom for their families and for themselves. And so that is the main purpose of it, by being seen, being heard, being empowered. However, I do want to touch into other facets of the woman, because where we tend to take on a lot of things and we don't fill our cup up. And so I really want to tap into other things. That's where the summit comes into. The summit is going to be more about the whole woman, where the podcast is more business oriented. So I talk to different women in business, but we also are going to talk into other things about the woman.
Okay, beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So Heidi, what is what would be the best possible outcome for today's conversation and for the be seen, be heard, be empowered movement?
To really empower women to share with other women what's going on, because we tend to hold things back and feel in lone wolfing. We feel like we're alone and we have to be perfectionists. And so by releasing perfectionism and allowing other women to see us as truly who we are, our beautiful imperfections and all, then we empower them and to, do the same and become a collective community of empowering women together with all of our bruises, bumps, and also beauty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I am a stand for that, Heidi. Of course, this is why I said yes to being with you, because your stand is to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're messy, even if you're in the middle of a breakdown, even if life is rough, even if you are telling yourself some serious lies. I'm calling myself out on that one because I have been doing that lately, telling myself some serious lies. Like that we get to experience connection with each other. It's like we don't have to live an Instagram life all curated and only the best versions of us and, putting forth the best possible face all the time. Like we actually get to show up and be real with each other and be intimate. So of course, that's why I'm with you.
And I am so grateful to you. And can I just say thank you for a minute? Because I want to share with everybody how we got here into this conversation. This is not the first conversation Eva and I have had for this podcast. The first one was actually about a week ago. And this is a do-over, if I'm going to be completely honest and open and with you all. It's a do-over because I was going through some stuff, still going through it. And I didn't show up as I fully wanted to. I didn't show up. I didn't feel like I showed up for Eva as much as she was showing up for me and for all of you. So I didn't feel mentally present enough to serve her and all of you properly. So I went out and asked Eva for a do-over, and she so graciously accepted. And that is part of the power of what we're talking about, really just being open with somebody and saying, hey, you know what, I don't feel like I showed up for you 100%, or, are you okay with like talking about it or even trying this again, just being open and raw. And Eva, I want to thank you for that, because you've always been a stand for me and for so many women and just people in the world with what you do. So I just want to say thank you for being there for me. And she's also been my co-captain in a leadership. So I've known her in a leadership program. I was a coach, and she was, there was 20 of us who were serving over 100 humans in their leadership journey. And Eva gave of herself, along with our captain and Eva. They guided all of us coaches through our journey. So she's an incredible human. So thank you, Eva, for this do-over, which is I know it's gonna be amazing.
Heidi, absolutely. Absolutely.
So I want to properly introduce you
Please.
to everybody to let them know who you are. So Eva Blake is a sex, love, and leadership coach who helps high-achieving individuals and couples create sensational sex and epic love. Her holistic approach elevates the erotic, emotional, and embodiment aspects of relationships and life. While Eva can teach you a few fabulous sex techniques, she is committed to empowering you to cultivate the confidence and self-acceptance to live a life you truly love. And I just think of you as the queen of intimacy. And that's why I really was looking forward to this raw conversation, because for me, intimacy has been a struggle. It's been a challenge, and going through there's been a lot of, like we were just talking about before we hit record. You said, what's going on with you? So I shared and I broke down, had a cry. But it's beautiful to do that in the company of somebody who's very supportive. And when I realize when you're going through things and you're about to elevate into the next, or you're stepping out of your comfort zone and you're about to take the next step into something, and you've been working towards something, sometimes the universe or God, whoever you look at, just slams you with it. Like it just comes apart and you get to break down to have that next breakthrough. And Eva is just like, I want to dive into the raw and intimate things about a woman, and also find out how you got to where you are, to how you got started on this journey of helping us get more intimate with ourselves and creating a life that we truly love.
Yeah. Heidi, well, thank you so, so much. Thanks for showing up and for letting me see you. When I think about intimacy, I think about understanding. And the only real way that I can truly understand you is if you show me who you really are, is if you let me really see you. And the same is true for me. The only way that you can really understand me, the only way that you can really get me, is if I peel back the layers. And so when I think about intimacy, yes, I think about closeness or maybe sexuality and erotic exploration, but ultimately it's like, I get you. I see you, I hear you, I know you, and I get you. And when I'm in that place with you, when I get to see you, Heidi, or you, anyone, any other person, then we create something in that moment of connection that moves our relationship forward. And my hope is that intimacy actually moves us all as individuals, as people, as couples, as humanity. It actually moves us forward in our consciousness and in our love. Because like when I understand myself, I generate self-acceptance. And self-acceptance is the pathway to self-love, and love is something that I get to have inside of me, and then I get to experience it with you and share it with you and grow it out into the world. And so how I got started in this work around sexuality, it's really where I started was sex, because when I was in college, I went to a women's college, Smith College in Northampton, Massachusetts, and I was surrounded by incredible women, the smartest women I'd ever met, the most gorgeous women I've ever met, the weirdest women I've ever met. Like it was just a smorgasbord of women from all over the world. And I got to interact with women from different backgrounds that I had never met before. And consistently, when I was hearing about these women's experiences in their sex and their love life, I was hearing a lot about bad, boring, disconnected, not intimate sex, where these women didn't feel like they were really understood by their partner. And so that was like 95% of the people that I had talked to said that was their experience. And then 5% said, oh no, I feel totally understood by my person. And I was like, how is that the ratio? Whoa. And when I looked into my own life, I was like, oh, shit. Same, not fair, not fair. I want a do-over.
I want to do over. That's great.
And that's how I really got started being curious about sexuality, is like, why are so many women having such like bad, boring, disconnected experiences in their life, and how do we create something better? That's where it started. And now where I'm at is radical self-love and radical love. And when I say radical, I don't mean wild and crazy. I mean to the root, all the way through and through, all the way in, all the way down, all the way up, and uncompromising and unconditional, like, and that's actually something that every single one of us gets to choose. I get to choose to be unconditional with myself and my own love. Like, I don't have to have it all together. I don't have to, make the perfect results. I don't have to, only love myself after I hit certain goals. I get to love myself, and you get to love yourself every step of the way, whether we hit the goals or we don't.
Right. And yeah, like giving ourselves grace and giving ourselves the space to move through things, right? We don't
Yeah.
have to be perfect. We don't have to show up perfect. And perfect's boring anyway. Nobody wants to see it. We see it on Instagram all the time. Like you were saying earlier, we don't have to show up in these, always show up Instagram perfect. We're real human beings. We have feelings and we get to move through them,
Mhm.
and find your tribe, find your community of women and people that are going to support you and help you through that.
Mhm.
So how do you help people with, get in more, especially like me, that was a big challenge for me, like really breaking down the walls. There's things that we've gone through in our lives as we're, from little kids growing up, or relationships that we've been in, which I shared with you. And that was one of the things that kind of imploded on me last week. Like literally I'm pivoting in my career, launching the podcast, launching a few different things, and then relationship all gone at once. Like a lot of things shifted at once. It's a lot to take. And it's a lot to move through. So how do you help, like, what do you suggest for women, or how do you help them, like, just
Mm.
sit in it? Because we all want to keep moving forward. We're doers. Many of us are doers.
Mhm.
We're juggling family or friends or children or or not relationships, but relationships. So how do
Yeah.
you feel, would you say for us to move through that as best we
Yeah.
can?
Well, as always, Heidi, it's a very big question that you ask, which is
And
part of why I love you. Um, so, I mean, the way that I work with people is, it's integrated, right? It's like coming home to your body,
Mm,
embodiment, being in our body. One of the things that I've noticed is that a lot of people who are doers and want to do are people who like only have a body to like carry their brain around in. And yet your body is the site of your feelings, your sensations, so much wisdom. And so, one aspect is really helping you to be at home in your body so that you use your body as a tool for being grounded, being present, creating connection, and so that when you feel the feelings of vulnerability or anxiety, you don't panic from them. You actually use your body to work with those sensations and the emotions.
mm,
And, I help people elevate their emotional intelligence, right? I mean, one of the like over and over the breakthroughs that I have in my life is not about some like new business tool. It's actually about like recognizing how my emotions or how my thinkings uh, get in the way of me having everything that I desire in my life, or how my emotions have perfectly choreographed my breakdown that I'm in. So part of like elevating our emotional intelligence is by getting to know ourselves. Understanding comes back to intimacy, understanding, self-acceptance. And part of self-acceptance is, what do I really want? One of the things that I've learned over the years in the space of working with sexuality, and especially working with women around sexuality and sexual desire, is that by and large, most of us have never really thought about or even given permission to have a vision for our sexual life, for our intimate life, for the experiences that we want to have in our most intimate and profound moments with another human being. So when I ask these questions about what do you want, so many women talk about these things on the surface, or these things that are kind of prescribed, or kind of the standard, right? Like, I want to have a good business, or I want to make this certain amount of money. I want to have these kinds of kids, or I want my kids to have these kinds of experiences in life, or I want a good partner. And when I keep drilling down and keep going in, there's this kind of blank space. which is not bad. It doesn't mean that there's anything bad or wrong about anyone. It just is like, what it reveals is that most of us haven't really let ourselves imagine or desire or articulate a vision for our intimate life. And so we go on autopilot, or we put it on the back burner, or we wait for somebody else to take the reins or lead us in some way. And so therefore, when we have an experience where someone doesn't want to be in a relationship with us anymore, or someone's behaving in a way that we don't like, or we have a set of feelings, we don't really know how to handle it.
Right.
But I
Right.
think that, I mean, I always go back to, what is it that you really want? What is it that you really, really want?
Yeah, and you mentioned two words that just stood out for me. It's vision and vulnerability. And in order to tap into your vision, we must get vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I'm hearing from you. And vulnerability doesn't come easy for doers, and for women who are like, or especially when you're in a masculine world. If you're running your own business or doing that, you have to tap into your masculine many times. So it's that shift. How do you shift out of that in order to get vulnerable and get deeper, and and then tap into that vision? Because I struggled for a long time tapping into my vision. My vision became super clear, the most super clear it's ever been was recently, and that's why I'm
Mm-hmm.
really like, everything since then has moved forward very fast. Not in some of the things, not that I wanted, but maybe I'm guessing that I needed, because it's happening for me, but it doesn't make it any easier. So what would you, how do you, because you're very good at helping people tap into their vision. You've helped us do it in the leadership program. I remember you had
Yeah.
your processes you would put us through.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's definitely one way, is like actually taking a journey. I think the other thing here is like, the words that we speak are so powerful. And I'm really paying attention to that in my own life and in my own mind. And every single day I do a meditation that is, and it's a guided meditation, but part of it is, it's a process of getting into the body first, and then creating the vision, or tapping into the vision that I already have and putting myself in that space. And then the really important question is, so what things, like, what things do you want to be aware of that you think that you no longer want to give into? What things do you think, that kind of the old way of being, the things that you tell yourself that you no longer want to embrace, the emotions that you no longer want to embrace, right?
Mm.
That take you out of your vision, that take you out of the game, that, like knock you down. And one of those things that what I'm hearing you say is like, vulnerability is hard, right? So one of the things that we get to challenge ourselves on is what we say to ourselves. Some of the things that I say to myself is, I can't, or it's not going to work for me, right? Or, oh, look, as in, look at the evidence for why I suck and why I'm not good enough, and like how my vision is dumb, like we all get to pay attention to the things that we think, because, many of us, like, we say the same thing over and over again, and it becomes a mantra. Vulnerability is hard. Vulnerability is hard. What if vulnerability was love?
Mm.
What if me being vulnerable was the way that I love you? For you, said, vulnerability is exciting. Vulnerability, being vulnerable is where I want to go in my life. I mean, so like creating an empowering context, an empowering set of beliefs is a powerful piece of what I create with my clients. Is really, I mean, ultimately it's like, what do I really want in my life? Where am I at right now? Right? What, and what do I get to create from where I am to where I want to go? And so I work with the mind, the body, the heart, the sex, and how we create with each other. So relationships.
Mm.
And so because I love you so much, Heidi, I'm not going to co-sign vulnerability is hard.
Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. I'm a big believer, true believer too, of verbiage. Verbiage is super important, and I'm usually very on top of that. So thank you for calling me forward that I said that. Vulnerability is easy. Vulnerability is love, and vulnerability is part of my vision for
Mhm.
my life and my future. So, or my now, not my future. It gets to be now. So
Yeah.
thank you for tapping into that. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And one thing that came to me when you were talking was that by really us tapping into the full body, the heart, the mind, the sex, everything, everything else in our life will flow together too, and the vision will become clearer and clearer. And that's one thing that, I'm going to cry again. It's coming up. That was really great about you letting us do what we do is that one thing I've learned last week, and I'm sorry everybody, but this is very emotional, is that I get to feel the feels. It's not easy when you're trying to tap into vulnerability. So really getting vulnerable with yourself, I think, and what I'm hearing from you is really super important in order for you to get vulnerable with other people.
Mhm.
So starting with us, which is where you're teaching us how to self-love.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And the piece around feeling our feels is so powerful. It's like, first of all, there's nothing for you to apologize for, Heidi, you know? Like, look, if you were interviewing me and I was crying, be like, this is just where I am at today. And I'm still awesome, but I have my feelings.
Yeah, we're still showing up, right? So that's the important thing. We're
I
making it
mean,
happen.
look, like, yes, feel your feelings, feel your feelings, feel your feelings, and like get to know the feelings. I think that we spend so much time apologizing for our feelings or avoiding our feelings or stuffing them down with food or drugs or the internet or whatever that we create a disconnect from our own self, our own self. Sometimes our feelings are, this is what I think. Okay. Sometimes our feelings are information that we really get to use, as in like, what is it that I'm feeling and what do I get to learn from this and where do I get to take this? Sometimes our feelings, like especially when we cry or we shake or we kind of throw a temper tantrum, it is simply a release of energy. It's like I have just been holding on to so much energy and it's got to come out of me some way. Some people run marathons. That is not my jam.
Not
Okay.
my
That's
jam
not
either.
my jam. Okay. But I will have a good cry in the car, in the parking lot, at the grocery store at like 9 a.m. after I work out. Done, true, did that this week. Thank you very much. Like, because I've just got this energy that I've got to get out of my system.
Mhm.
So it's just about expressing it. Right. And so, when we feel our feelings, it's so valuable for us to know what exactly am I feeling? Because that can inform what do I want next. Oftentimes, our feelings can be an indicator for the needs that are being met in our lives or the needs that are not being met in our life. When I feel lonely or when I feel despair, well, the need is contact. It's connection. That's the need that's not being met. When I feel lonely, it's because I don't feel connection with another human being,
Mhm.
And when I get to experience life with you, Heidi, where we get to be vulnerable and you show up real with me and you really let me in, I get that experience of connection with you. I feel like, oh, yes, my heart opens up. Right. And so I get to feel connection, even though we are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles apart from each other. I think the really important part, like the place where we elevate our emotional intimacy, emotional intelligence, really is where we get to feel our feelings
Mhm.
and not make them mean something that we like have to make a decision about. Remember earlier I was telling you like I tell myself lies. So,
Yes, I was going to ask you if you don't mind sharing what they were or to go deeper with that. I appreciate
well,
that.
one of the big lies is I can't
Mhm.
fill in the blank with anything. Any desire I have, I can't have this, do this, create this, win at this, etc. Right? I mean, that's the massive lie. I can't. And there are moments in time where the I can't story is so loud that I break down and cry. I scream. I have I throw a temper tantrum. I turn on my phone and I play a stupid video game. I look at all the things that are on my to-do list and I like have an emotional experience about it and use a lot of four-letter words about it. And I walk away. Right. And like leveling up in emotional intelligence or, like being the leader of my life is like coming into contact with this material and actually saying to myself, like, those are lies. Not only is it not true, but you don't have to believe them.
Right.
Right. And there is another way forward, which is our vision. And that space of like being in that moment, like as you were talking about, like feeling the feelings, like that's an opportunity for us to confront the lies and choose our vision, choose to live an empowered life. Yeah.
And not make ourselves wrong for feeling that way, which was
Sure.
a great point that you made. And that the same goes for when, well, it goes for when you're feeling sad. You're not right, wrong. There's no blame or shame, right? It's not good or bad. It's all about just being in it and giving yourself grace and knowing that you're right for feeling that, and move through it as you need to. Ask for support, reach out to people that you trust that can support you. And the same thing when you're happy. Many people stuff that down. They feel guilty
Mhm.
about being happy when somebody else might be sad. So go have your dance party, do the things, and also choose that we can shift out of the feelings that, or the state we're in. You can still feel the feels and also shift out of it
Mhm.
when you need to, and know that you can move through it. Like what we were talking about, like no matter what, like last week we did this and we did this conversation, we had this conversation, but I didn't get them. I stayed very surface. We were very surface. And that's why it didn't feel right. Cause I'm like, we're talking about intimacy. We can't be raw. We can't be on surface if we're talking about
Yeah.
intimacy. We get to be real. We get to be authentic. We get to show up raw and let other women know that it's okay to do the same, and that you can still be showing up for your children. You can still be showing up for your business. You can still be showing up while you're also moving through it, and you can be showing up emotionally if you need to, and it's perfectly
Mhm.
fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think the important part here is like the intimacy that we have with ourself is a model, a blueprint for the intimacy that we get to have with other people. Because if we are shutting out parts of ourselves, then how can we possibly accept the other people in our life, especially the people that we say that we love? Whether it's your kids, your partner, your business partner, your own clients. For all you people who are coaches and entrepreneurs out there, you know that you can only take your clients so far as you are willing to go. But the same is true in your partnership. The same is true with the people in your life. If you are not willing to get intimate with yourself, to really understand yourself, accept and then love yourself, then how can your kids and your partner experience you as fully accepting and fully loving?
I love that because I know I want a 10-10. What about you, Eva? You want a 10-10?
Absolute. In every moment of my life, 10 out of 10, best possible. Bring my desired outcome right here, right now. Ding, ding. Order is in from the Cosmic Kitchen. Bring it now. Yes, please.
Yes, yes, and yes. 10-10 in all areas. That's the vision. That's the vision. Back to the
Yeah.
vision. So um I know you had mentioned to me you're doing a retreat. Can you share more? It's about self-love, if I'm
Yeah,
correct. So can you share
absolutely.
more about that?
Yes. So I am hosting this summer a self love women's summer retreat. And it is just for a small group of women. We're going to be in person in a gorgeous, beautiful, warm, sunny location together. And the whole intention is to level up our love of self. It really is to step into radical self love. So we're going to explore uh, self care and self pleasure and everything in between and around. And my intention is really to create a space and an opportunity for you to restore the trust and the love that you have inside of you, is to raise your having level of love for yourself so that every relationship that you have is, as you say, 10 out of 10. We raise the level of love and care in all of our relationships and all the work that we're in the world.
Amazing. So when this is going to be over the summer?
This will be over the summer, and I'm finalizing logistics now as we record this, and they'll be available soon. If you really want to know about that, you can find me at liberatingdesire.com and follow up with me, and we can talk about the retreat, or we can talk about Mastering Desire, which is my year-long mentorship in sex, love, and relationships. And again, it comes back to that radical love.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, as you get more details, we will update this as well, the information associated with this episode. So definitely reach out to Eva at liberatingdesire.com. And you had mentioned the word trust, and that is an important part of intimacy as well, because one of the other things I realized moving through everything this week is if you're not trusting yourself, it's impossible to trust other people. The trust starts breaking down.
Mm-hmm.
You find that's true?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, look, I think that trust and love, I think these are ongoing journeys for us. You know, I mean, I can totally speak from my experience about, like, look, my brain really wants it. My brain loves the I can't and the you're not good enough, and also the you're better than other people stories. My brain loves those stories. It loves judgment of self or judgment of other people. And that's the thing that erodes trust. That's the thing that gets in the way of trust and love. And so for me personally, and what I've seen in other people, is that it's an ongoing journey. It's like, creating an ongoing love affair with yourself and your life. It's not like, oh, great, I had this one experience of love and trust, and so therefore I'm done. No, it's not like that. It's something that we're up to all the time, and we get to both reinvent and reclaim over and over again. And so everything about the work that I do is about restoring that trust and reclaiming that love and stepping into the power that you have so that you create in your life the love, the passion, the freedom that you desire and deserve.
Yeah. And by reclaiming that trust, you're releasing that judgment. Because I know me, I could be really judgmental of myself, less of others. I'm good at playing, seeing both sides. But when it comes to me, oh, it's much, much more challenging up until now. Up
Yeah.
until now. And that was the word I was thinking about earlier that I didn't say was judgment. So allowing ourselves to release judgment. And that was one thing that I was able to do as well moving through the week. And that, I mentioned last time we spoke that I've learned a lot from you, Eva. And one of the things is that we just get to be okay with what we're moving through and know and release the judgment of where we are. We don't need to compare ourselves to where other people are, where they're at in their relationships, or what they have and they don't have, or where they're at in their business, or where they're at anywhere in their life, or where they're at in their journey. We're in our own journey, and we get to release the judgment of where we are compared to others and just be in the moment and enjoy the process and the journey.
Yeah.
So thank you for
Absolutely.
your teachings on that. Anything else you'd like to share? I just love talking with you. You have so much goodness and knowledge and just, so much love that
Thank
exudes from
you.
you and that you share. So I really am grateful for you.
Thank you, Heidi. I think, look, I think the only thing that I can, the last thing that I want to share is, um, I think that I'm going to make a broad general statement here, which is, I think everybody who's listening has felt hurt at some point in their life. And, I just want to say to you, like, if you have felt hurt in the past and you have decided from that hurt that this is going to be the reason why I can't open up. I can't reveal myself. I can't be vulnerable. I can't have what I want in life, in career, in family. My invitation for you, my wide door open, is that like you reach out, because it's not, what I'm not saying is like you have to change right now. But what I am saying is, um, reach out to someone to see if you're even willing to build the belief inside of you that you can. Because all it takes is the willingness. That's it.
Yeah. And give that gift to somebody else. Let somebody else support you and hold the bucket and be there for you in the process. Right?
It's true.
Yeah.
It's one of the most beautiful things about relationships, right? Is that, Heidi, when you come to me and you share something with me, you give me the opportunity to be here for you. You give me the opportunity to be your friend.
Mm.
And what a great thing. I like friends. I like being friends, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And so this podcast, it's just starting. We're launching it. This is a brand new launch, so in one of my mission in this is called Be She, which is be seen, be heard, be empowered. I am a business strategy coach, so a lot of it's going to be about business. However, it wouldn't be fair. I wouldn't be serving. I wouldn't, if I'm doing my job and I'm doing it well, it wouldn't be, if I could say it that way. It's a song that I love. But it wouldn't be, if I'm bringing just that to you, then it's not going to serve you. So bringing the raw, bring the real, being authentic in what's going on in my life, in on my guests' lives, that's what I want to do. Because if it helps just one of you today, then we served our purpose. So I hope this has helped at least one of you today. I'm sure I will cry more on these episodes, and I'm learning from Eva that that's way okay.
Way okay.
Very
Yes.
okay. So thank you, Eva. I love you. I adore you. Make sure you all go reach out to Eva. Go see her at liberatingdesire.com. Check out the retreat as we move forward. We will be updating this episode, and wishing you all an amazing and empowered rest of your day.
Beautiful. Yes. Thank
Thank
you.
you.